It is Thursday, March 28th, and I'm DP Knudten, and I'm back on campus at NonFiction Brandversity, our free Facebook group, and I'm just really delighted to be back because I've got a lot of ideas and information and brain dump to share with you about social media marketing world. Let me tell you, this Social Media Marketing World 2019 was really interesting because a number of really interesting things happened from my point of view. Not the least of which was the very first keynote on the very first day. Michael Stelzner, the guy behind Social Media Examiner, always does the opening keynote, and it's a big deal because he really spends a lot of time, and anyone who knows Social Media Examiner knows that they really pay attention to creating quality information, quality content about social media, and they cover the entire gamut of what's possible via social media. So to say that they have their fingers on the pulse of social media is no exaggeration. And it was really interesting this year because let me just go back 1 year. My very first year going to Social Media Marketing World was 2018, and when I went there, I got a ton of information. I felt inundated, and that's one of the things. You come out of those 3 days or 4 days, depending on how you count them, and your brain is just packed. But at the end of last year, I felt, my God, they are very Facebook-centric. Everything was Facebook. I mean, you could literally go through the list of presentations and presenters, and you'd see the word Facebook. Facebook this, Facebook that. And those of you who know me know that I'm not a huge Facebook fan, in spite of the fact that the NonFiction Brandversity Facebook group is in Facebook. Well, there's a reason for that, which is LinkedIn groups suck, and there's not really any other place for groups like this that are meant to be friendly, collegial, sharing, all that stuff. There aren't a whole lot of places for it. And also the fact that everybody's on Facebook, more or less. And it's a very good platform for that type of engagement. So, hey, Mandy, good to see you. So anyway, 2018, I just came away thinking, wow, I got a ton of great stuff out of this. But boy, all Facebook all the time, they could use a little bit more balance. And this year was all about that balance. And it started the very first day with Michael Stelzner's keynote. Why? Because I felt like his keynote was not the rantings or the ramblings, but the discussions of a guy who kind of fell out of love with a platform. Facebook is not going away. It will be changing, according to Mark Zuckerberg, quite a bit. But Facebook, as we know it, its days are, I don't want to say its days are numbered, but its days as we currently see it and engage with it are probably numbered because they're doing a number of, some people would say interesting, other people would say concerning. I would say it's kind of like that Chinese proverb that the opposite side of there's a character, the opposite side of danger is opportunity. Well, that's kind of what we're looking at with Facebook. But his whole keynote was, hey, Facebook's not your friend. It's going to be doing what it's going to be doing based on its needs. And so consequently, you need to look at a balanced menu of social media things. And I was like, hallelujah, because that's what I've always felt, that Facebook is certainly a channel, but it's one of several that you need to strategically engage with to get your messages out there, to build your brand, to create your communities. And that kind of theme that Michael Stelzner set the very first day was repeated by a number of speakers and presentations throughout the entire thing. And I want to walk you through some of the key takeaway slides or photos that I took of people's presentations, because there were, as I say, a number of people speaking about this kind of same idea, which is that Facebook is not necessarily your friend. It's not the only place to play, and it's certainly not good to put all your eggs in that Facebook basket. And so anyway, let me cut over to the presentation or the slides that I've created for everybody. Hold on, I want to make sure I get to the right place. Okay, so Mari Smith. Do you know Mari Smith? You should know Mari Smith because M-A-R-I Smith, S-M-I-T-H. Good morning to everybody who's logging on. And by the way, if you want to have your photos show up on, or your profile photo show up on screen, you do need to give Ecamm Live some permission to do that. And you can do that by going to ecamm.live/8782C4. And I think you can see that probably up at the top in the Facebook Live itself. Oh, good morning from Peru. Who is this? Oh, be sure to, if your profile pics aren't coming up, please write your name in because I want to be able to talk to people and also introduce you to some of the nonfiction brandversity people we have here. And believe me, I want to talk all about the two wonderful new friends I have from Lima, Peru, because that was a highlight of the entire social media marketing world. But as I was saying, Mari Smith, who's been called the queen of Facebook for a reason, she really dives deep into Facebook and has personal relationships with a lot of the people at Facebook. So she's really plugged in, and her keynote threw up this slide, and everybody in the room was going, yup. The bottom line is the majority of people on Facebook are not seeing your organic posts. Facebook literally wants you to pay for eyeballs. Even small purchases of Facebook ads. Hey, Jerry Ann, good to see you too. Even small purchases of Facebook ads can help your organic content go a lot farther on Facebook. So Mari Smith was really sharing a lot of great ideas, including part of what she calls her Mari method. One of the slides I took a picture of is shown right here, where she's talking about encouraging watch parties within your groups. But I think she probably should have put her second bullet point first, which is build community in private groups. Well, this is huge, and one of my big takeaways was, as most of you know, I started the Nonfiction Brandversity Facebook group in August of last year. So it's still a really new group, and someone like Jerry Ann Hanley Wiesbrook, who I met, who's a master at Facebook groups, has given me a pile of crap about how I'm not doing groups right. And I'm the first to confess to that, Jerry Ann. Let me tell you. Her thing is that, or her group is about military moms and helping military women and spouses deal with people who are loved ones deployed throughout the world, and create a community there. So the idea of building community through private groups is really huge, and one of my major takeaways, and one of the ways that I really want us to engage on nonfiction brandversity in a much bigger way. The other thing is that Mari Smith was right on Michael Stelzner's page, which is Facebook is fine, but you've got to use other platforms to influence and spread and amplify your message. Facebook is not, you just aren't getting the organic reach that you were, and not all of us have budgets that are capable of paying for Facebook ads to try to get that engagement. However, if you use other social channels, you can amplify your message, build your community, and create that type of ferment that is what people are really looking for. Because I want to go to another slide from Mari Smith, because content is king, but engagement is queen, and she rules the house. Now, how true is that? And because every platform wants to drive engagement. The more you engage with people, the more they're going to be keeping your property, whether it's a Facebook group or your posts or your articles or anything like that. There's going to be much more spread of those things, because they're actually, engagement shows the algorithms that people care about who you are, what you're posting, and what you're sharing. So content is king, but engagement is huge. Another one of her takeaways was that a lot of you may be aware of Mark Zuckerberg's blog post of a couple of weeks ago that's talking about how privacy is now going to be privacy has always been a major concern of Facebook, but now it's going to be a major priority of Facebook. And why? Well, she answered that question, and I agree with her list here. Why are they doing this now? The number one, to prevent antitrust lawsuits. I mean, you're hearing more and more talk about people dividing up, breaking up in entities, whether it's social media entities like Facebook or even entities like Apple. A lot of people are saying that Apple shouldn't be able to have the App Store and apps within the App Store. You're either the train tracks or you're the train. You can't own both. Well, that remains to be seen what's going to happen there, but there's a lot of talk about antitrust, and certainly a lot of it is due to Facebook and its incredible power in the marketplace. The other goal is to dissuade potential government regulation. Yeah, what happens when it's likely that people and bad actors were able to affect an election? You might get some government regulation. But the big one that Mari talked about that I was impressed with was the idea that Facebook is preparing for blockchain. And what does that mean? They're going to come out with Facebook Coin or some variant thereof, whatever they decide to call it, and they're going to allow you to do payments via apps like WhatsApp. Now, in America, we are not necessarily huge into WhatsApp, but let me tell you, everybody else in the world is. In fact, I prefer to use Apple Messages for its end-to-end encryption, but everybody else around the world who doesn't have access to Apple Messages jumps on the WhatsApp platform for the same thing, which is end-to-end encryption. Your messages are encrypted to me, my messages are encrypted to you, and no one can hop in the middle and try to figure out what our conversation's about. Well, WhatsApp getting huge global engagement. It's now going to be, no one knows for sure what Facebook's going to do on any given day, but it's probably going to become a platform for people to engage with and share payments. So right now, a lot of us use Venmo to get money from one person to another. WhatsApp is going to be a Venmo killer, maybe not a killer, but certainly a competitor. And so they're moving into that, and WhatsApp payments are a big part of that. Yes, Jerry Ann Hanley Wiesbrook says, keep your group public if possible and grow your community. Then do watch parties. Create an event and invite all members. Absolutely. And she goes on to say, it's one instrument in your orchestra of sharing your story and building community. Could not agree more. And, of course, she also points out you can also already do payments through Facebook. But I think Mari's point, and certainly my point, is it's going to be much more prevalent, especially in terms of getting people to lock into a platform and then share, and share payments or make payments. Another one that Mari, another idea that certainly it's on screen right now that Mari was pointing out is that digital finally has killed TV when it comes to ad spend. It's been a long time coming, but take a look at the projections of where it's going. If you're not digital and you're really putting all your money in the broadcast bucket, that might not be the best place for it. Again, Mari Smith, she built her whole thing around the idea of the cheese has moved, the idea that there was an old psychology experiment using mice, and the mice would come in through the maze, and they memorized the maze so they could get to the cheese. Well, all of a sudden, all that cheese is gone because they ate it all, and Facebook has actually moved the cheese. So that's a metaphor she was using, and you'll see in the next slide exactly how it kind of played out in this. But her recommended Facebook strategy is focus on the ROI of each post, create highly shareable content, and then Move my flippin' face. Optimize for mobile consumption. Yeah, that's pretty obvious, but a lot of people aren't doing it. So consider that. The other thing is fewer links. I'm sorry, but I'm a fewer guy, not a less guy. Fewer is for quantity, less is for amount. Fewer links, more videos was another big point she made, because that's where the cheese is, according to the algorithm that Facebook is currently using. Also, the other thing she was pointing out was that she personally recommends less of a focus on permanence and a lot more on ephemeral. Now, a lot of us know that ephemeral marketing refers to things like Snapchat, where you post something and 24 hours later it's gone. I would almost refer to it as shelf life, less shelf life. But that's what she's talking about. Don't be afraid. And this has been one of my fears, is that the amount of time that I devote into ephemeral marketing is not as good as the amount of time that I spend on evergreen marketing. Well, I'm now kind of second-guessing that because I heard not only Mari Smith, but a lot of other people talk about the value of doing stories. And that's a whole conversation for later, for sure. And Jerry Ann, analog is dead. But so was vinyl and film, and both are making a resurgence. I agree, but in a much smaller way. So anyone who said that anything is dead is wrong, because books were supposed to be supplanted by radio. Radio was supposed to be supplanted by TV. TV was supposed to be supplanted by, online. All those things still exist. They just change and morph. Very few technologies have ceased to exist at all. Most of them are still in play in one way or another. The other thing that Mari was talking about was that Facebook Messenger chatbots are the #1 growth marketing channel for the next 5 to 10 years, according to Larry Kim, CEO of Mobile Monkey. Now, Mobile Monkey is a chatbot organization, so they certainly have a vested interest in Facebook Messenger chatbots. But the point is well made in this slide here from Ogilvy, which is not in the chatbot game as a manufacturer, but certainly as a user. Ogilvy, everyone will recognize, is a global advertising agency, and they're pointing out that 40% of people have said they don't care if customer service comes from a human or technology, as long as it's the right answer. Think about it. If all you want to know is how much something costs, or what are your hours, or is this something I should really pay attention to, having a chatbot walk you through the normal questions to get to a possible answer is a lot preferable to waiting online on hold, right? Would you rather spend 15 minutes on hold waiting for a human, or would you be okay with a chatbot walking you through the entire process of determining what information you might need? And when it comes to individual marketers like you, me, and everybody else in the group, you have to say, how much time do I spend answering FAQ questions? What if I could offload some of that to a bot that then has at the end of the FAQs, hey, would you like to schedule a free 15-minute consultation phone call? If you could have that always-on chatbot that then delivers you nothing but warm leads, or maybe even hot leads, and it's very low cost and very low bandwidth consumption in terms of you, that's pretty valuable, So I found that really interesting. The other thing is that by 2020, 85% of our engagement with businesses will be done without interacting with a human. Instead, we'll be using self-service options and chatbots. I hate it, but it's true. All you have to do is go to your local grocery store and see how many lanes that used to have a human cashier are now being turned into a self-service lane where one person can serve 5 different lanes and deal with the problems that you have with your credit card or whatever else. It's happening, and like it or not, it's happening. They also, Mari's shared some really interesting case studies. In this case, there was a Stoptober chatbot that was all about getting people to stop smoking. 3,000 people quit in 28 days, for 28 days. Average engagement rate 67%. 92% of survey respondents found the tool helpful, and 75% claimed they were now smoke-free. And again, my face is in the way. Let me get that out of there. No, and there was no media spend. There was no money being spent to get these numbers, which is pretty darn impressive. So chatbots, are they for you? I don't know, but that's one of the things I'm going to be looking at. Another, this is kind of a summation slide that she threw up there on screen. Publish engaging video content, embrace Instagram and Facebook stories, integrate messenger marketing, and build community in niche or niche groups. I think so. I think she's right. And again, I don't take anybody's list of things to do as gospel, but I'm certainly putting these things on my radar to filter through my brain and see how it can work for me and the companies I work with. I also, one of the big other takeaways I took away from social media marketing world, and frankly it's because I went to several talks about live streaming, is the idea that live streaming, like what you're watching right now, is becoming this huge thing and a great way to engage your audiences. I went to see Luria Petrucci talk about the lessons we can learn from Twitch. Do you know what Twitch is? If you're a gamer, you probably do, because Twitch is a live streaming platform that's used by a lot of gamers. So if you want to watch people play Fortnite to learn tips to play better, or Call of Duty, same thing. You can watch pro gamers play. You can learn tips, tricks. You can just watch for entertainment value. It's very much like watching football. Some people watch it like two eyes focused on the game. Other people are watching it as they're working or paging through a magazine or an iPad or something like that. Twitch is huge when it comes to that, and there are a lot of lessons we can learn from that. And Luria Petrucci points out that you can learn from Twitch, the Twitch environment, and the more you learn, the better your streams are going to become. Because, again, this is kind of a new form of broadcast TV almost, because I'm thinking of one Call of Duty Twitch guy I watch. He has a persona. He wears this bad 70s wig with sunglasses, and he talks crap about players all the time. He's very funny, very entertaining, and all he's doing is playing Call of Duty all the time. Well, surprisingly, it's very, very interesting. And if you don't go to Twitch, if you haven't been on Twitch, you should check it out to see the different video styles, because maybe there's one that works for you and how you do things. I certainly have learned some stuff from that, but going to Luria's talk about Twitch, she had a great line that was in the video I posted last week about Twitch when it comes to trying to create programming for Twitch, and that is, ditch the pitch on Twitch. It is not a hard sell market. In fact, if you have a call to action, you're going to be kicked from the platform. But you can do things like behind the scenes, how-tos, mini courses, all that stuff on Twitch if you want. And the whole thing is, I'm probably not going to do Twitch, but I'm going to learn from Twitch. I thought that was really interesting and something I definitely wanted to share with all y'all. And then finally, I want to talk through a number of slides that Mark Schaefer put up there. He did the final keynote, the closing keynote. So interesting programming. You had Michael Stelzner up front with the first keynote saying, essentially, I fell out of love with Facebook. We've got to broaden our vision of what's possible on social media. And I'm not going to say he was ever just Facebook only, but social media marketing world was a lot more Facebook focused last year than it was this year. I mean, even if you look at the names and titles of the presentations that were given, they were a lot broader I mean, the fact that Twitch was even talked about at something like this was pretty novel. But then the final keynote was Mark Schaefer, who teaches marketing at Rutgers and is a really big thought leader in the marketing space. He's got a new book out called Marketing Rebellion, and he kind of walked through a number of key ideas there. And the fact that the framing that he put on it is that we're in the third rebellion of marketing. And he's pointed out that it's now about emotional connection to a human, not a product. It used to be you would associate with a product. Like you've heard me talk about Coca-Cola all the time because I worked on it, but people had an emotional connection to Coca-Cola. And I would argue they still do, because if you go to a restaurant and they have Pepsi products, but you're a Coke person and you don't order it, there's a reason for that. But he's pointing out that in the past, there was much more brand loyalty, when now that loyalty is shifting. When you can get any brand delivered to you via Amazon Prime, there's a lot more price comparison going on. There's a lot more checking out reviews going on and all that stuff. Why? Because people are looking to other humans for recommendations instead of brand marketing for recommendations, if you will. So all of a sudden, I don't know about you, but I'm always looking for verified purchaser reviews on Amazon. Why? Because they're human beings who've bought the product, experienced the product, and have opinions about that product. So the marketer the brand can say whatever they want about it. I don't value that. I value what other people are experiencing and saying about it. The other thing is that we're increasingly unreachable by advertising. Why? Because we're so fragmented. You know, some people are more on LinkedIn than Facebook. Some people are more on Instagram than Facebook, you know, et cetera. We're all over the place all the time. So trying to be everywhere all the time is a budget buster for any brand, and it's a power energy killer for any individual. There is no traditional marketing or sales funnel that really can guarantee what it used to be able to guarantee. And I think he overstated the sales funnel argument a little bit about sales funnels don't work anymore, because frankly they do. But he's making the point that if you're relying on sales funnels only, you're missing out on the story, because a lot of it's happening between people, not only people to other people, but you to people, hence going back to groups and things like that. And the idea that the customer is the marketer, again, that ties right into what I was saying about Amazon and verified purchasers reviews. Those reviews are marketing. Seriously. So that was really interesting. He also talked about marketing generating sales. 2/3 of your marketing is occurring without you, meaning word of mouth, meaning recommendations, meaning referrals, all that stuff. So true. The brand is no longer what we tell the consumer it is. It's what the consumers tell each other it is. Bing. Absolutely true. And now kind of the new marketing rebellion is that marketing is all things human. In fact, the title of his book is, I'll pop down here, Marketing Rebellion, The Most Human Company Wins. Yeah, he was more or less proving it. What made this great? The customer is the hero. The customer is the marketer. The company helped people belong. And then when he threw up this slide, I almost freaked out. You could probably hear me scream from San Diego. Personal brand is now the company brand. I've always believed that. And especially for small businesses, you can put up whatever name on your company you want, but your small business brand is your personal brand. Your word, your bond, your relationship, these are all the things that are so critical. Also, so there's the book. And the big takeaway was the best thing about social media marketing world from my point of view are these folks here. I mean, this was my posse that I met. Well, let's right next to me, I'm on the far right, is Bea from New Zealand. We met while waiting in line after Brian Solis's final or Thursday night keynote, and we started talking. We became friends, and then when we met again this year, we became even deeper friends. Right next to her is Balaczs Ferenzi, who's a Hungarian who works in Germany for Chrono24, a high-end wristwatch website and call it information platform. Next to that guy is Carlos Latorre, who I met with Bea last year, now a huge friend, and he's in Santiago, Chile. And then those two ladies over there are Dely and Carolina from Lima, Peru. Don't know about you, but when I'm down in my office working by myself, I don't meet anybody internationally. But at Social Media Marketing World, not only can you meet them, but they can become part of your universe and become really influential members of your community as well. Another person who I met is very vocal in the feed right now, Jerry-Ann Hanley-Wiesbrook, who I mentioned earlier. We met at Molly Mahoney. Remember Molly Mahoney? She was on a couple episodes of the NonFiction Brand podcast. I went to her meet and greet on Friday night, and I only knew Molly. I frankly just went to give Molly a copy of Ratoma, the book I wrote with Spencer X. Smith, because she was on the podcast. But then I met Jerry-Ann and a whole bunch of other Molly friends, and it's so cool to be able to walk into a room with a bunch of people, and you don't have to explain anything about what social media is. What do you mean you're a social media strategist? I don't do the social media. You don't walk into any of those conversations because everybody gets what you're doing. And even if they don't know exactly what you do, they're likely to have enough of an entree to have an incredibly interesting conversation. Like Jerry-Ann and I, we met, and in seconds she's giving me crap about how the NonFiction Brandversity Facebook group is not doing what it could be doing. And I'm the first one to say, you're absolutely right, Jerry-Ann. I mean, come on. I'm admittedly a Facebook agnostic person. I've avoided the Zuck as much as I can for as long as I can, but the reality is I can't anymore. And what I really loved was seeing people like Mari Smith saying, hey, you got to have these niche groups to get engagement, to build community. And I'm like, oh, great. I'm accidentally doing that. Now I need to take it to the next level. And this is where I need your help. Right now, I hate to say it, and Jerry-Ann will be the first one to call me out on this. Your group is all you posting. And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to get some stuff going on. Obviously, I'm not doing it the right way. That is going to change. And not the least of which is by doing a more frequent Look Who's on Campus event. So next Thursday is going to be Ben Brewer, a freelance photographer, and that'll be at 8 a.m. Next Thursday. Knock on wood. All things being equal. But the other thing is that, yeah, it's been a lot of me posting. I'm searching for engagement by putting out canapes saying, hey, engage with this. Do you like this? And maybe people don't like my cooking, so I'm going to invite other people to cook, to BYOB canapes and hors d'oeuvres to the NonFiction Brandversity Facebook group, because I want to turn this into this valuable place for all of us. Again, it's absolutely free. Bring your heat, bring your passion, bring your interests, bring your questions, bring your information. Share. The only rules are that this is a kind group. No selling overtly. I mean, just by being a cool person, you're selling enough, right? Hey, you're really good at what you do. I like you. By the way, I understand you do this. Tell me more. That's the type of engagement that leads to relationship that can lead to a lifetime of transactions that this group is all about. I'm just going to say that my takeaways from hold on. My big priorities coming out of Social Media Marketing World are the NonFiction Brandversity Facebook group. Really, let's take this thing to the next level. helping each other out, helping each other become better at building our personal brands, helping with the tips and tricks that can enable us to use the incredible power tools of social media the most effective way possible. I want to master more and more live streaming. That's what Loria Petrucci calls it. It's not live streaming, it's life streaming. It's the walking through the airport and letting people know where you are and maybe giving them a valuable takeaway. And then I'm going to investigate messenger bots. Again, I don't know if I'm going to do this for myself, but I'm certainly going to investigate it, if for no other reason than being able to recommend it to other people, other businesses that I work with. All right, so does anybody have any questions? The other thing I want to say is that some people might ask, so is it worth it? And I'll be honest with you. Every year, after my first year, I'm like, okay, here's the reality. If you go, it's not an inconsequential dollar, right? It's pretty expensive. But if you go, the last day until midnight, they have a special ninja price or a special VIP price. For those who attended, that's $1,000 off. So I think it's $600 and change for your ticket if you go next year. So last year, I'm thinking about it on the flight from San Diego to Minneapolis. I'm thinking about it, cost-benefit analysis, because, again, it's expensive when you add all the, lodging and everything else. And I'm going, did I get everything out of it? And then I literally at 11:47 p.m., the deal ends at midnight. I'm on my phone buying my ticket. This year, I didn't get to the airport before I bought my ticket because, I'll be honest with you, some of the presentations I went to were meh. But the ones that were great were absolutely worth it. And to be honest, the real big honest part is I'm going back because of these guys. The posse. Oh, come on. There we go. I'm going back because of these guys, because where would I have met great new friends in Lima, Peru, Santiago, Chile, New Zealand, Nelson Tasman, New Zealand, and Karlsruhe, Germany. And by the way, what was really interesting, at least 4 of us spoke German. Well, my high school German is sehr schlecht, but anyway, so cool, especially for me, because I love the cross-fertilization you can get from meeting people from around the world. So, love you guys in Dane County. Love you guys in Madison. See you all the time. I love to get a little bit of new ideas, and those come from people from someplace else. And that's what the real value for me is, because when people say, and a lot of people say it, the best thing about social media marketing world happens in the lobbies or the hallways outside the presentations, it's absolutely true. So is it worth it? To go one time? Absolutely. To continue to go? Absolutely. And by the way, I can give you an affiliate code so a little bit money comes back my way if you're interested in going next year. I got to tell you, it was great. It was fun. I'm still tired. I still have summer camp voice because as a self-confessed introvert, that all goes away when you're preaching to your tribe, when you're surrounded by people who get you, Hey, who was it from Peru who was on here? Was it Dely or Carolina? Either one. I'm so glad you guys could hop on. I don't know about you guys. I got friends in Lima, Peru. Just saying. And that's one of the coolest things about social media marketing world. So I think that's it for today. Again, next week, Thursday at 8 a.m. Central Daylight Time here in the U.S., Ben Brewer is going to be on Look Who's on Campus. Look for a bunch of new polls and quizzes and different types of posts from me on NonFiction Brandversity, the Facebook group. And, oh, it's Dely. Hi, Dely. Oh, I do have to tell that story for those of you who didn't know. This is how it works at Social Media Marketing World. I meet Dely and Carolina at the night before cocktail party. There's kind of an official, unofficial cocktail party in the lobby of the Manchester Hyatt, right by the convention center in San Diego. And people who get there on Tuesday go to that. It's not, the conference hasn't opened yet, but everybody shows up. You get a name tag and, you meet some people. I walk in there, and who do I run into right away? George B. Thomas. You'll remember him from the NonFiction Brand podcast. He's a great guy. We chatted for a few seconds, and he was out in the lobby of the hotel. So I took a beeline over to the bar where everybody was. There was probably, I'm going to guesstimate, 250 people there, if not more. And the din of noise was just blah, 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 because everybody was talking. And the funny thing is, all these social media marketers, nobody was on their phone unless they were taking an unselfish selfie or taking video of the room or something like that. Everybody was talking to other people because, again, you're talking to your tribe. Anyway, I meet Bea, like right away, again, reconnecting from last year, and all of a sudden I'm touring the room, and I run into Carlos Latorre, who I met with Bea last year. He introduced me to Dely. I'm going to say your name wrong, excuse me. Goiochea, or something like that, from a PR agency in Lima called Nimbo. And her partner in crime, Carolina Morillas, I believe is her how you say her last name. And they're from Lima, Peru. And so I have a great conversation with Dely. And the next day, I was sitting with a couple of those people, and Carolina was there, and I pull out a copy of Ratoma and hand it to her because I'm just giving her a copy of the book. And she looks at me with this kind of strange look on her face and says, "I know this book." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" "Well, we talked about it last night." "No, I know this book." I'm like, "Well, how do you know this book?" And then she went, "I know Dely bought this. She paid $25 or whatever the freight was from the U.S. to Peru and the cost of the book to get it sent to Peru." And so here it was, the woman I met the night before. We had a great conversation, knew me as DP, but not as DP Knudten, the guy who wrote that book. So small world. It's a small world when you put yourself out there. So Dely, love you, love Carolina, cannot wait to see you guys again. But I want to underscore the fact that I would not have these relationships had I not gotten out of my basement office, gone across the country to meet people who've literally gone across hemispheres, or across the equator to get their butts here. So, love you, Dely. Love you, Carolina. By all means, pass my love on to her as well. And the rest of the FAFA crew, by the way, we now have an acronym for our group, which stands for a lot of different things. But we're the FAFA group. We're all going to see each other next year at Social Media Marketing World 2019. So, bottom line, putting a period on this conversation. Love my girls in Lima. Love my friends around the world in Santiago and Nelson Tasman and Karlsruhe. And we'll see you guys next year. But if you can make it to Social Media Marketing World, I don't think you'll be disappointed. And certainly, if I know you and you know me, I'm going to make sure that I introduce you to as many people as possible. Why? Because the more we connect in real life, the more connection we'll have digitally. Right? Right? That's it for NonFiction Brand Live today, a kind of a recap on Social Media Marketing World 2019. Thank you for watching. Thanks for being a part of NonFiction Brandversity, and I hope to see you guys again real soon. Not only, and don't forget next week with Ben Brewer, Thursday, 8 a.m. Central Daylight Time. that's it for me today. You guys have a great day. Go out there, and remember, the more we're connected online, the less we're connected in real life. So let's flip that script. Let's connect more in real life by being more active on Nonfiction Brandversity, local networking groups like 1 Million Cups or Social Media Breakfast or anything else that you go to. And let's make those connections, because the more we're connected, the more work we'll have, the more joy we'll have, and the more, I'll even say money we'll have as well. So love you guys. You guys take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.